I mean, that looks really rich and dark in the pen, and I thought that's what it's gonna apply like, but I guess. Hi guys, it's your new favorite YouTuber, me, aka Erica, aka Lilith. And today I have plenty of new makeup that I would like to try with you, and I hope you want to try with me, so let's get into it. Before we start applying makeup, this is my Instagram and this is my TikTok. And subscribe to this channel if you like today's video. So I'm just gonna start with prepping my skin, as there's some new skincare that I would like to try. First thing being the in-ceramide Daily Moisture Cream by Indeed Labs. So I'm just gonna take a little bit. My skin is really dry, as I mentioned in every single video. So I definitely need a good cream before I put any makeup on. This feels very lightweight, so I think it's gonna be great under makeup. Yeah, this feels great on the skin. I love Indeed Labs, so this is no surprise really. Another product is this SPF 50 by MULAC. And who's been watching my videos for any amount of time probably knows that I love SPF. And this SPF has no silicones, paraffin, and is vegan. And obviously cruelty-free, just like everything I use ever. I don't use anything that's tested on animals. So I'm taking a generous amount of this and rubbing it everywhere on my face, not just on the high points of our faces, as some celebrities tend to think. And this is a face water gel, so this feels super duper lightweight. It's not even like a cream, like it immediately just like sinks into my skin, which most of my SPFs, if not all of them, are creams. So it takes a little bit of like rubbing in, especially with the like white cast that some of them have. But this looks amazing on the skin. I mean, can you see that glow? I don't know if this actually leaves a lot of white cast, because I'm so white it's barely visible ever. Even with SPFs that do leave a lot of white cast. I've tried this on my boyfriend also, who's a little bit darker than me, and it did leave a little bit of that white cast, so just letting you know. As this is a water gel, it says on the back of the packaging that this is a weightless and refreshing texture with no alcohol or oil. It's suitable for sensitive, combination and oily skin. I have dry skin and I'm very satisfied right now with it, how it looks and how it moisturizes my skin. Also formulated not to clog pores, and it's an anti-pollution sunscreen. I love this already. I was also gonna try this Jouer anti-aging moisture primer, but after applying that sunscreen and the in-ceramide cream, I am very happy with how prepped my skin is. So I'm gonna either try this in the next video or on my Instagram. So for foundation today, I'm going to be trying the new and reformulated Faux Filter Luminous Matte Foundation by Huda Beauty. And this is not new by all means, but it has been reformulated, so technically the formula is brand new. One main thing that I know a lot of people disliked about the old formula was the strong smell it had. This one is fragrance free, so I've never tried the old formula, so I don't really have anything to compare to, but on their website it says that this has the same full coverage and long-lasting properties as the old one, but 24-hour flexible wear and luminous matte finish, plus it's fragrance free obviously. So I'm just gonna squish a little bit on the back of my hand. This is a really thick formula. I'm just going to be using a little brush like this to work it into my skin. I don't really want to apply too much of this everywhere, especially the formula is so thick that I really just don't want to, you know, feel like a pancake. So that's why I'm going to be using this little brush and really just be working it in areas where I feel like I want some coverage. So I'm just dipping it into a little bit of product, and I'm gonna start around my nose where I have a lot of like little veins that I really don't like and I always cover. This brush is from Colourpop and it's the F5 brush, by the way, if anybody was wondering. Little redness over here from a leftover pimple that I had. This foundation really does seem to have a lot of coverage, and it's really working great with this brush. It looks super duper natural on the skin. Like, I don't think you would be able to tell that I have foundation on this area of my face. Yes, I do have a little bit, but with some foundations you can really tell how they're sitting on top of the skin. Little redness on the chin. My skin has been good to me the past week. I've been breaking out so much lately because I've been using this new retinoid treatment and my skin was purging like crazy. So finally, after like a month, I have clear skin again. And it's actually, honestly, that treatment has been working wonders for my skin. It's from Sunday Riley, which means it's gonna be uber pricey, but damn. It's really been working wonders for my pores as well as like fine lines around my eyes that I was starting to get, and it kind of resurfaced my entire skin, which makes me very happy because, as we all know, skincare not always works, and it's nice to see when something actually does. It also doesn't sting or doesn't like irritate my skin too much aside from the purging, which I've heard is normal with retinoids. So I'm finally over that phase of purging and now my skin just looks really, really nice, which hopefully lasts for a very long time. Honestly, I haven't even used up the whole pump and I feel like it covered up most of what I wanted to cover up, which is amazing because you only really need the tiniest drop of this. I just heard fireworks outside. Who is shooting fireworks? What is the occasion? So I think this is enough coverage for now. I didn't even end up using the whole pump. So I'm gonna show you really close up what this looks like. The only place where I can see a little bit of texture is on my nose. In defense of this foundation though, I did pick the skin on my nose before this video. So the skin was peeling a little bit as it does with my uber dry skin. So I don't think it's necessarily the foundation's fault, but I thought I'd just let you know obviously. But everywhere else, I think it looks really, really nice. I really like the luminosity that it kept on my skin. It's not too matte, which I don't particularly like on myself. I don't have anything new for concealer, contour, and blush, so I'll be right back. Contoured, concealed, and blushed. Ta-da! I also powder just because I have two new bronzers that I would like to try, and both of them are powder, and I wouldn't really want to go in with a powder bronzer on top of wet skin. So the first very interesting bronzer that I would like to try is this color correcting bronzer by Illamasqua, hence the blue stripe in the middle. You're meant to swirl these together and the blue takes away a little bit of the redness that is in the brown on the sides. There are 3 shades of this and this is the shade Flare Medium. The blue in the middle isn't like too pigment, it's like a sheer blue, so it's not really going to be the case of you ending up with blue somewhere on your face, I guess. And the other bronzer that I would love to try is the Morphe x Avani Gregg. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. And that looks somewhat like this, which is very, very warm toned, and me being so pale, I'm always worried about that, but I would love to try it. It has a little bit of sparkle in the pan. This one is called the Beacation Luminous Bronzer in the shade Cali, and this is the lightest shade out of 3. So I'm going to try the Morphe one on this side and the Illamasqua one on this side. If it's gonna look too different, I am going to obviously even them out, but I just want to see how each of them look on the skin on their own first, and then we'll figure out what to do if they don't match. So I'm gonna go in with the Illamasqua one first, and I'm kind of just picking up all of these colors. I'm just gonna stamp this around my forehead. Oh, so definitely quite a bit of color. You can definitely see how luminous this is, since both of these brown shades are definitely more on the luminous side. This is still showing up quite red on my skin, even though there is that blue in the middle. But I'm also very pale and most bronzers look very, very red on me, or orange, so this is no surprise really. I'm kind of bronzing wherever I contour, which is kind of in this like 3 shape and down my neck. It looks much more luminous than I expected it to look. I'm not sure if the camera is picking it up, but in real life definitely, especially on my forehead, you can see the sheen I'm just trying to show you. And now the Morphe one. And I'm gonna do the same just on the other side. Definitely much more sheer than I expected this to be. They look very similar. Which is weird because they both look definitely very different colors in the pan. The main difference I'm definitely noticing is obviously this one has like a gold specks in it, and you can see that on my skin when you look close up. While this one obviously has none of that. It's more of like an overall sheen on the skin. I feel like I prefer the finish and texture of the Morphe one over the Illamasqua one, but I do like the color of the Illamasqua one a little bit better. It is a tiny little bit more on the cooler side than this one right here. Let's do the eyes. For the eyes, I'm going to be using this Eye Prep Eye Primer by Juvia's Place. This is a new product as well. Just a full disclosure, I've done a sponsorship on my Instagram with Juvia's Place for these primers. I am in no way obviously obligated to do this video or to mention them in this video. I simply like them and it's a new product, and this video is all about new products, so that's why I'm including it. So, Juvia's Place came out with new eyeshadow primers, and this one is in the shade 1. This one is very watery, so I'm just going to shake her. And I'll apply this all over my eyelids. I'm not sure what eye look I want to go for yet today, but I usually apply my eye primers all over the lid anyways, just to cover any veins or discoloration, which I have a lot of on my eyes. A few have asked how does this compare to the P. Louise bases, and two main things I noticed is this is much more lightweight than the P. Louise base and a bit more watery in formula. The Juvia's Place one also sets on my eyes, which the P. Louise one doesn't do. I'm not sure if it's supposed to or no, but that one remains much more wet on my eyes than this one does. But both are absolutely great and you can't really go wrong by choosing either. In terms of eyeshadow palettes, I have two to choose from. First one is the bPerfect Manifest Dream Big eyeshadow palette, which looks like this. This has a lot of colors with a lot of odd placement, to be honest. All of the colors are beautiful on their own. I just don't know how I feel about the placement of them. Is it weird to say that it's kind of all over the place? I feel mean saying that, but it kind of is all over the place. I absolutely love these two purple colors here. I love this coral one up here. It's screaming my name. And I love most of the colors on their own. It's just looking at the palette, I just don't feel like the placement does them justice, if that makes sense. But bPerfect shadow formula is quite literally out of this world, so I know these are gonna perform amazing. And another eyeshadow palette is actually part of this Avani Gregg, I really hope I'm pronouncing the name right, collection, and it's this one right here. No, don't fall out. I just want to open you. This is what it looks like. This is probably like one of the biggest PR packages that I've ever received. So I just wanted to show you. This is the bronzer that I've used. And there's some lip glosses, there's a liquid highlighter, some pencils and lipsticks that I might use later. But what caught my eye about this palette, which I didn't notice at first, was I thought all of these are eyeshadows, but then I came to realize, noticing this little writing here, that these 10 shades are actually cake liners, which are these wet eyeliners that you use water with and basically apply them on the eye like that, which is quite interesting, and I don't think I've seen cake liners and eyeshadows in one palette before, so that's why I thought the colors are very bright, which is very me, and I like that. And I also would like to try the eyeliners because I haven't actually tried anything new from Morphe in quite a while. And I haven't really had the best experience with their eyeshadow, so I would just really, you know, I'm very curious. And I've definitely never tried their cake liners. I don't even know if they've released cake or wet liners before, to be honest, or if this is their first launch. I think I definitely want to go in with the Avani palette after further inspection and looking at the colors for a little bit longer. So I don't know why, but I'm really into blue makeup right now. So I want to go in with this very light blue shade and then combine it with this super dark navy blue eyeliner. I think that could look really, really nice. I don't know exactly, but we'll figure it out as we go. So I'm just gonna start by packing the light blue all over my lid. Okay, first impressions of this shade. You have to pick up quite a lot. I'm not even tapping my brush off. I'm just picking up loads of the eyeshadow and then stamping it onto my lid. This is a really pretty color though. It's almost like a super light bluey periwinkle, which don't even get me started about periwinkle. I love periwinkle. So I'm just building up the color all over. I'm gonna soften the edges a tiny little bit. Okay, I thought the eyeshadow is trying to skip in some spots on my eye, but as I packed on a shit ton more, the crisis is averted. So I'm not sure if this is the formula or if this is because the eyeshadow is a light color, which I know are harder to make or whatever. I don't want to make excuses for the formula or for the shadow or whatever. It was a tiny little bit challenging to actually pack this on evenly. So I'm blending this out a little bit in my outer corner. What also is almost shocking to me is, considering how much eyeshadow I packed on my eyelid, there is no fallout. Okay, so I kind of just want to keep the eyeshadow one color and then go into the colored liner. I'm gonna take my Glisten Cosmetics brush number 2, which is one of my favorites for eyeliner. So I just wet my brush and I'm kind of just dipping into the blue shade like this. Huh. Okay. These do not behave the same way a usual wet cake liner would. I'm comparing to the wet cake liners like Anastasia Beverly Hills' electric cake liners or Glisten Cosmetics wet liners. This seems more like an eyeshadow. This seems more like an eyeshadow that you just dunked your wet brush into, which I haven't seen eyeliners like that before. So it literally says here on the palette, wet your brush before you line. So that's what I did. Let's see how this is gonna work. I'm very, very curious. I thought this is gonna be a lot darker than what it is. This is kind of what it's applying like. I mean, that looks really rich and dark in the pen, and I thought that's what it's gonna apply like, but I guess. So I'm just trying to go over what I did with the wet brush with a dry one, because it looked a little bit patchy, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so I built this up a little bit more and it's a very pretty color, I have to say. It just took a little bit of effort, a lot of effort to get to this point, which so one thing that I definitely found works much better is using like a bigger, well, this is like a tiny angled brush, but bigger than the liner brush I had before, and kind of just dipping it very slightly into the water and going in like that, coat the brush from each side, and then kind of go straight into the liner. It makes it a lot more opaque than just swiping it on with the liner brush. Okay, I think I'm done with the eyeliner. They're definitely not even, but I don't care. I'm quite confused over these eyeliners, as they seem to be like a hybrid in between an eyeshadow and a cake eyeliner. I think it turned out really nice in the end, but Jesus, did I have to work for that. So if you don't mind putting in the work, then yeah, they're nice colors, but they're not the easiest to work with, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm going to put on some eyelashes and I'll be right back for the lips. Okay, the lashes are on, and for the lips I'm thinking black. There is a lipstick in the Morphe collection that is actually fully black, so I would definitely like to try that. And it's called Show Don't Tell. It has this cool design on it, I don't know if you can see it. I think it's really pretty. It looks really, really nice. And there is also a black color pencil. I love that so. Okay, so I'm just gonna line my lips and then we're gonna fill it in with the lipstick. Really creamy. And now it's time to ruin the pretty lipstick. Nice. That's really nice. Really, really, really nice. I'm never going to not love pastel eyes and dark lip. Like, it's one of the best combos that exists in makeup, for real, for real. Like, I am obsessed. I'm going to put on some highlighter and a tiny bit more blush just because I feel like this look needs it, and I'll be right back. So I just added some freckles because clearly I can't do a look without freckles. And a black lipstick at this point. But yeah, I think that's the look complete. Let's go through the thoughts on everything. The Indeed Labs in-ceramide cream, great. This was my first time using it, so I can't really tell with skincare, but I liked how it laid under makeup and how thin and lightweight it was, and I'm going to be definitely using this going forward. The MULAC SPF 50, amazing. I am definitely putting this in my go-to routine. It's almost everything I want in my daily pre-makeup SPF, and I am definitely going to be using this every time I'm doing my makeup going forward. I'm really pleasantly surprised with this because it's not very easy to find a really good SPF. The new and reformulated Huda foundation, it's okay. I think it didn't like blow my mind, but it wasn't ugly. I think it looks great on the skin, but it wasn't like the best foundation I've used. One thing that I noticed that I have to say is I've been wearing it for like what, 3-4 hours at this point. Don't judge, I've eaten and I watched some TV shows while filming this, so that's why it's taking so long. It looks exactly the same as when I put it on. And yes, I powdered and everything, so that makes it last longer and all of that, but this foundation looks literally the same, if not better, as I wore it throughout the evening. I think they got it right with the long-lasting aspect. I mean, I haven't worn it for the longest time, but I've worn it long enough to where I can tell like it's going to look good going forward. And I've had like what, 3 really strong lights shining on me this whole time, and that's when usually I see foundations kind of going on the shiny side as I'm filming. So this is actually a really, really nice surprise. So there is one thing I have to give to the foundation. I'll be pulling this out on days where I know I'm going to have a long day and I need my makeup to stay on. Okay, excuse the rest of my makeup, but this was the foundation after like a good solid 10 hours of wearing it, and I swear to God, it looked exactly the same. I was shook. The bronzers. I liked both, but I don't really wear bronzer every time I do my makeup. Unless it's something like today where it's like blue or green, or I'm using some kind of a cool color. That's when I feel like my skin needs a little bit more bronzing, and that's when I will use a bronzer. But I usually use a cream one. Like, this is my go-to one. Like, my go-to is the Fenty Beauty cream bronzer in Butter Biscuit. And that is obviously very different than a sparkly powder bronzer. I'm going to say not for me, but if you do like a powder bronzer, both of them are very nice. If you want something on the more cooler side, I would go for the Illamasqua. If you want something very sun-kissed, very summery, I would go for Avani one. I really hope I'm saying her name now, because if I'm not, and I'm saying it wrong this entire video, I am confused. The colors are absolutely beautiful, and this is something right up my alley, a rainbow palette with really beautiful shades. Amazing. Like, it looks amazing. The eyeshadow was so. That said, pastel eyeshadows are very difficult to formulate, and rarely did I find in a palette a good pastel eyeshadow. Not just Morphe, like other brands also. So I want to use this palette again, and I want to use different shades. Some of the darker ones, some of the maybe red orangey ones, and I want to make up my mind after that. Because as much as I feel like if you're going to put a shade in a palette, it should perform consistently with the other shades, but I don't think it's fair to judge a palette of one shade. So I'm going to use this again, and I will have my final verdict after that. The eyeliners in the palette, as beautiful as the colors are, they are a lot of work. That's one thing I'm gonna say for sure. Once you build them up, beautiful. I mean, the color now that I'm wearing looks very opaque, very beautiful, and you definitely wouldn't be able to tell that I had any hard time doing this, I think. But it wasn't a wide swipe type of an application that I can have with other eyeliners. I want to watch some reviews. I want to see what other people think. I want to see how they used it, if they used it a little bit less wet, if they used it dry, if they used a lot of water with it, how they use it, and what their experience with it was. So yes, this palette I am very undecided on. As beautiful as it is, I don't want to recommend something that I am not 100% about, if that makes sense. Now on the other hand, this lipstick. This might be the best black bullet lipstick that I've used, honestly. It went on so opaque, so like not patchy, no patches at all, like one swipe type of an application. This is what I expected from liners. They didn't give it to me, but the lipstick did. It's honestly beautiful, and this might be my new go-to bullet black lipstick, because I do have my favorite like liquid lipsticks that I like, but not bullets. This is the one. If you like black lipstick, which I know not everybody does, but if you do like black lipstick, if you wanted to grab something from the collection, this would be it, in my opinion. I think they sell it in as a duo with the lip liner, so a huge lip liner, by the way, it's really big, and a lipstick. £12 or $12, which I think is a great deal, honestly. So I would 100% recommend both of these.
Ooh, I wanted to try one more thing.
This is a new Illamasqua Hydra setting spray, and I haven't used any setting spray on my face yet, so I think we should give this a go. Okay, pump seems to be quite fine. Pump. No, it's not a pump. Sprayer. Doesn't smell like anything, I think. So I feel like this gave my skin a really nice sheen just now. It's not super dewy, which this says this will give you a dewy finish and it will leave your skin refreshed and moisturized. I don't think it's the dewiest setting spray that I came across, but it definitely gave the skin like a really nice dew. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you're planning to get any of these products or what caught your eye, or just let me know what your favorite products are that just recently came out, because I am always on the hunt. So thank you so much for watching today's video, and I guess I'll see you next Sunday. Bye!